What's up, blue chips? 8 total trades today. Really kind of a frustrating day. Ended up making 2 mistakes. Let's get to it. All right, so starting off, I was going to do this on stream, but I forgot. I'm going to go ahead and just add my trades in real quick just to show you kind of what it did for the overall stats as far as we go into the depths of the strategy. So there we go, 8 total trades added. So it's going to bring our win percentage down because we were basically 50-50 today. If we count the last 8 here, starting with EFC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you'll see we got 4 wins, 4 losses. And yeah, we ended up losing a little bit of money just because after slippage and commissions, it's going to bring it down just a little bit. Plus, we made the mistake here. We were risking the full 10, but not to make the full 10. We actually ended up making half an R more than we would have just because we did the math wrong. So we'll get to that here in a second, but I just wanted to go ahead and add those in just to keep you updated on the overall win percentage, profit factor, all that good stuff. So going on to EFC, you will see we made 3 total trades on EFC alone. And as you can see, the first 2, we started pretty early. And then we finally got that move up here towards the top. And on our 3rd entry, we timed it right. I really wanted this to be more of a descending triangle type trade, but the way that it just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, you just knew that it was probably going to be like a solid dump. So I didn't want to miss it. And unfortunately, with our strategy right now, the way that it is, sometimes these are going to happen where you get that big dump and you just don't get all the move because you have your risk and your take profit set into place. So those were the 3 trades on EFC. Literally just started it was early, finally waited a little bit. You can see this candle was a little bit bigger than all these. Finally got that squeeze that we were looking for. We were looking for it to try to test 12, didn't quite get there, hit it on the way back down, and we got our fill for the take profit. So we ended up 1 for 3 on EFC, so minus 1 R plus any kind of slippage that might have been there. Moving on to TRTX, this was where and this is not the one where we made the mistake. This one, we just happened to be wrong. We're looking for the push through previous resistance. We had the move through the $0.50. We jumped in at 659 when it felt like it was done. And pretty much right after we got in this thing, it just shot up right against us and we got stopped out. And as you can see, we were looking for 7 possibly to get into this again. And I think this one actually tried to halt, if I remember correctly. Again, any of these, if you want to go watch the live trades, I'll go timestamp them right after I'm done making this, and they'll be there for you to watch live. But I'm pretty sure this one tried to halt, and it didn't. Tried to come back down, but then ultimately stopped us out on the way back up there. So I'm pretty sure that's not what happened on this one. I think this one it just stopped us out right away. We just hit the 50 cents, so we had 20 cents on it, and it just stopped us out right away. Yeah, 659, 679. And then over to COOP, we were actually in this one for a while. So this was a pretty nice move. We actually had our order, the 1-to-1 was at 828. And as you can see, we did not get fill here when it went down to 825. So when we came back to it and it popped back up here to 857, we had moved our order down to break even. Because my rule is if we get close to the take profit and don't get our fill, we move our stop down to break even, because there's no way I'm going to let it go from almost giving us our full 1R to letting it go against this 1R, right? That would make no sense. Basically, almost a 0R risk or 0R take profit to 2R risk. Like, that makes no sense to me. But I don't mind letting it be a break-even trade if it doesn't want to actually come down and give us our profits. But what we realized is this thing was kind of spready, and it had the opportunity to go down and test 8. So we actually broke a rule a little bit. Technically, I'm going to put this in my journal, that we didn't just take the 1R at 28. We actually moved it down to 11, and we actually ended up taking 819 on this because we got down. We were on the bid several times, and as you can see, it even went down to 807, and we got no fill at 811. So it was pretty frustrating. I was pretty ticked off on the stream, and we ended up taking this one off at 819, and the order was at 811. So twice on this stock, we got absolutely no fill when the bid went through our order. So that was the trade on COOP. So here's the one where I made the mistake. ARMK. This was a beautiful move above previous resistance. It was up there at 28. As you can see, it's about $2. 26 to 28 would be $2. I was hovering over the $2 button here on shorting the ask, I think it was, and somehow I ended up on the $1 button. I'm pretty sure it was the bid actually, because I think the spread wasn't too bad. It doesn't matter either way. I ended up hitting the $1 button. I meant to hit the $2 button, so I only gave myself 40 cents wiggle room instead of 80, which is what it was supposed to be. And yes, I ended up losing. I actually got some slippage on this one, so we lost $12 on this one instead of the 10 that I am trying to risk. And on top of that, it actually would not have hit our take profit even if we would have had the 80 cents, but it would have been a break-even trade, right? Just because I explained to you earlier that if it gets really close to our take profit, which we would have been just shy, and we would have ended up breaking even on this, because I can see it shot back up towards high of day, and our entry was down here. So that was AMRK. That was the mistake we made. So we ended up basically break even, but after slippage and commissions were red. But if this would have been a break-even trade, we technically would have been green even after all the slippage. So because we should have been up 1R, but we technically would have only been up a half R, which I am getting to in not this next trade, but the one after that. So CAR, this was just kind of a quick one. It kind of formed some resistance here at 17. It popped through. We kind of felt the top. This thing kind of squeezed up almost to 1750. It got to 1748. We got our entry at 1741, came down. It tested that 17 area. And we actually ended up kind of getting screwed with this one a little bit too, because we were on the bid at 1701, because this was 40 cents from our entry, 41, so we were at 1701. We were on the bid several times here, just could not get any fill. And I thought I hit it at 1705 because I saw the bid pop up a little bit, and then the ash jumped to 1708, and that was what we got filled at. So pretty close to the full 1R there as well. And again, I actually broke my rules here, and we would have gotten the fill because it ended up breaking right through 17 right after I got out. So again, we'll be putting that in the journal. I really need to set my rules and stick to them, right? I'm still letting my emotions play into these trades that are supposed to be systematic, right? So I really need to get a hold of that. And the last trade we took was SRG, and this was the frustrating one, right? We had a little bit of a pop here. We were looking for the descending triangle. It actually looked perfect, like a perfect descending triangle. It tried to break through, and we did not get that push down. And now the other problem that we had is we got in at 1289, risking high of day at the time, which was 1318. Well, I tried to do the math in my head. I was 10 cents off. So we actually were shortchanging ourselves half of what we were risking. So our take profit was at $5 and our risk was $10. And I didn't understand that I was doing that in the moment because I don't look at my P&L during the trades. But I was sitting at 69, and as you can see, this got down to 69. So we were on the bid yet again with no fill. This was happening all day. It was very frustrating. And you could just tell that it did not want to go through. Like when you get these descending triangles that are going to flush, usually they just flush, right? You don't get this like grindy action through that support that it was trying to form. When that happens, you can kind of start to feel that, okay, this does not want to go down. And as you can see, we were right. So we ended up jumping out of this at 1275, even though our order was at 1269 and we got no fill. And we were right. So we ended up we would have ended up having another break-even trade here if we wouldn't have taken it. So we actually ended up making half an R that we probably shouldn't have, because if our order was at 60 where it was supposed to be for the full risk to reward, we probably would have ended up getting stopped out at break-even. So we ended up making an extra half R there. We ended up losing a full R. So with the slippage and everything, we technically should have been up 5R or 0.5 R today. But instead, we ended up basically break even, but minus 0.5 R, and then with the slippage and all that added stuff. So just crazy. We actually looked to take this trade again on this pop here, but this thing was just so choppy and spready that we just decided to leave it alone. But as you can see, it's finally breaking back down. This kind of felt like a pump. It was very grindy, and yeah, we just stayed away from it. So crazy day, crazy busy day, lots of mistakes, lots to learn from as we move forward. So the fact that we ended up break even, I'm not going to complain. It sucks because it could have, should have been a green day, but it wasn't. So it is what it is. Don't forget about the Friday night live stream tomorrow night. Don't forget the market is actually closed tomorrow. Don't show up looking to trade tomorrow morning. It's not going to happen. And if I don't see you tomorrow night for the live stream, have a great weekend. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Always appreciate that support. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below, and I will see you guys Monday morning. Peace.